Hey, thanks for tuning in. This week, I'm going to show the assembly of one of the two gantry arms, a little bit of the process involved in the design, some mistakes I've made, and if you stick around to the end, you can watch what happens when an end mill decides to go for a walk. Trust me, mayhem ensues, so stick around to the end. Now, this video doesn't get into the details of the design of the CNC machine itself. Stay tuned for that, that's actually for another video. This video instead is all about the gantry arm, so let's take a look at it. If you guessed, the arm consists of several off-the-shelf components as well as some custom-made or modified parts. Before I actually owned a small CNC machine or had anything that could counterbore, I shopped around for a part that I could use to join the gantry to the support arm. Both are just 40 series extruded aluminum from 8020.net. I happened to stumble upon a good starting point, a 40 series joining plate from Grainger that had the correct rough dimensions and 4 holes with counterbores for M8 bolts. It was perfect. Now, I still would need to drill additional holes into it, but this I could do with my drill press. Now, I've highlighted the edge of the joining plate as this will have to be trimmed off, since this part is too long and will ultimately interfere with the rails that will be mounted on the gantry arm once everything is assembled. So anyway, here's what this trimming process looked like. You may notice that I already drilled 6 holes needed to run M3 bolts through the part. Those bolts will then connect to T-nuts. Also, as I speed up this video quite a bit, you may see that I'm not actually just trimming the aluminum, but I'm actually parting it off over an unsupported ledge. Generally, I would imagine this is a bad idea, but don't worry too much. I'm not going to mill all the way through the part. I'll finish the cut with my bandsaw and then clean up the edge with a few final passes with the CNC. Alright, one final look at the gantry arm before we actually assemble it. So here's the extruded aluminum I mentioned before. This is the gantry and the part we're going to mate the gantry arm to. And here's all the hardware for the gantry arm. So let's put it together. We start off with the joining plate we just modified. This plate will sit on top of the extruded aluminum, which has 4 holes in the ends that have already been threaded, ready to receive the M8 bolts. Now this is a simple step. Just drop in our M8s into the pre-made counterbored holes. These holes are deep enough for the bolts to sit flush. Now this is really important for when the arm gets mated to the gantry above it. The next step here is to drop in our M3 bolts down the side of the extrusions into the holes that were added to the joining plate. The first 4 bolts that are on the outer edge of this plate are slightly longer than the 2 remaining bolts that are going to be in the middle. Once we drop those bolts in, we can screw them into their T-nuts. Hopefully you can start to see kind of how things are going together here. If not, it'll all be clear very shortly. We start to increase the challenge level a little bit now with the installation of these last 2 bolts. As you may be able to see, I am forced to use a very long automotive T-handle to reach all the way into the inside of the extrusions with just enough length to properly install it. Once that's done though, just screw the T-nuts on and this step is complete. On to our next step, where it's time to install what I'm going to be calling the gantry rear support. Whatever it might be, basically this part is just to help secure the gantry arm from twisting and provide a little extra support for those M3 bolts in this previous step. This support uses M8 T-nuts and bolts to do the job. We're just going to loosely install this plate for now. On to the good stuff. This is our Gantry End Cap that was featured in a previous video. Let's get this installed. As you can see, it takes 4 M8 socket head bolts, and like our other extrusion, the ends have been threaded to mate with the end cap. I almost forgot, the rear support plate needs T-nuts. I swear, T-nuts are like USB cables. I'm always having to reverse them. Now I'll just double check that everything's tight and we're good to go. We're almost there now. At this point, it's time to slide the partial arm's 6 T-nuts through the T-channels. This was a bit of a challenge. The first 2 went in without a hitch, but I spent a good 5 minutes trying various things to get the second 2 in. I'll spare you from having to watch that. Anyway, I finally found if I laid screws underneath the T-nuts, this gave me the height I needed to finally slide them in. The last 2 went in easy. After that, I just need to tighten the 2 bolts closest to the end cap on the joining plate to bring the gantry arm up toward the gantry. Not quite snug, but enough to loosely fit up the rear support. There's a process here, and I just have to make sure not to miss tightening any bolts. The order is very important as well, and that's why some of these are loosely fitted for now. Let's hope I get it right. So again, here we can see how I'm backing off some of the bolts and tightening others, such as the top 2 bolts on the support plate. As long as the plate is aligned to the edge of the gantry and not the arm, it's where it should be. What you don't see, unfortunately, is I'm actually under the gantry arm, using that long T-handle to screw in those center bolts. I had to cut that portion of the video to spare you. You can actually see the shift in the position of the gantry arm as those bolts were tightened, and this aligned the arm with the gantry, which is exactly what we want. You may notice I'm trying to put a lot of torque on these bolts, as I obviously don't want these to come loose. That said, once the machine is properly tested, I'll need to go back over every single one of these bolts and then use some thread locker. Since everything is tight, I can now go back over and take care of those last bolts on the rear support plate. Alright, now we're on to the last couple major components. This is the bottom gantry arm made from a single piece of 1-inch thick 6061 aluminum. I designed this to attach directly to the side of the aluminum extrusion with the hopes of providing additional support. This is probably overkill, but what do I know? I'm not an engineer. Anyway, 10 M8 bolts and T-nuts are involved in this portion of the assembly. I was wondering if I can ask you a favor. If you like this video and would like me to make more of these, I'd so greatly appreciate your support. You see, I'm brand new to YouTube, and your subscription means a ton. And if I haven't earned your sub just yet, no worries at all. Your opinion does matter to me though, so if you would like to leave a comment, or like or dislike instead, that would be awesome. Your feedback is invaluable. As you can see, the last component is this 40 series 8-hole gusset inside corner bracket. This is used to anchor the bottom of the extrusion of the upper gantry arm to the lower gantry arm. What's great about this part is it positions the lower arm in precisely the right distance without the need to do any additional measurements or adjustments to square things up. The mounting holes on the lower arm were drilled using the CNC to dial in the exact position, and then the holes were tapped for threads. For installation, we need to slide the entire assembly up the T-channel on the inside of the upper gantry arm. It's a little tricky to get it started, but once you get a few in, it's not so bad. It's all about getting the right angle, and you'll see I actually had to adjust mine to get a better view. It gets a little harder to push the lower arm up as more T-nuts enter the 2 channels. With a little bit of force, everything slides right into place, ready to be bolted down. It's funny what a rush it is when something you design on paper and spend hours and hours building comes to this point, when 2 parts meet with minimal play and everything lines up so perfectly. You know, it's stuff like this that really get me excited about building this CNC machine. I've learned so much from this project so far. If you're an engineer, I'd love to hear your comments about what inspires you. If you see something I can improve, please let me know. Getting these last bolts on is a little tricky because they're so close to the side of the arm, the T-handle can only rotate about 90 degrees. Now this is getting a bit tedious. As you can see from this angle, I have to make multiple passes, and I'm almost there. As I tighten things up, you can really see how lined up everything is getting. I still have to get the 10 bolts on the back, but I'll leave those loose for now. I want to make sure that there's enough play in the arm so I can get the linear rail blocks on. With the lower arm secured enough to move to the next step, it's time to really see if all that measuring paid off. Now, I've made some mistakes in the past about measuring, and I'm happy to say this is one area I didn't screw up on, or at least that I'm aware of. I suppose time will truly tell. Just look how smoothly those blocks slide into the channel milled out on the lower gantry arm. I love it. Now, there is of course some margin of error here, and that I made sure the gantry arm wasn't too close to the blocks so they couldn't be moved into place, but not too far away where there's play that would screw up the blocks and cause uneven friction or worse, an alignment issue or on one of the axes. Again, time will tell here, but the good news though is it looks like things are coming together without much difficulty. The 12M3 screws seem to find their appropriate holes with minimal difficulty, just a nudge to the left or the right of the block, and that's that. It's exciting to contemplate that the gantry will be structurally supported and mobile by these arms in short order. Let's hope it slides on the rails when it's finished. Time to remove the temporary support and let the arm do the heavy lifting. The gantry currently weighs about 80 pounds with these arms and some of the hardware attached to it. Once the Z-axis is added along with the spindle, I suspect this will be much higher. So far so good though, and it looks like we have smooth movement on the gantry. The final step involves getting those last 10 M8 bolts nice and tight. So if you've managed to make it this far in the video, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try and confuse some viewers. Leave a comment and try to incorporate the word antiquity. Let's see what happens. I'll pick the comment that generates the most confusion, and I'll feature it in a future video. Alright, on to the final thoughts and an epic fail that occurred earlier this week while attempting to drill some pilot holes. As you can see, the gantry moves nicely with only a little bit of force. I'm only applying actually a few pounds of pressure, and it's able to move quite smoothly without any backlash or play in the movement. But it'll be interesting to see how things go once I add another axis and spindle. As I mentioned before, this has been a very rewarding project. At this point, I'm pretty proud of what I've been able to accomplish. Of course, I've run into some setbacks. I've had several crashes on the CNC. I've trimmed the joining plate too short, which I didn't mention before, but you'll see that it's not flush with the extrusion. Thankfully, it's just cosmetic and doesn't really impact the performance of the gantry, but still annoys me that I rushed rather than measured correctly. In addition, I had to create 2 separate gantry end caps because I ordered the wrong length of the gantry, so we're seeing a common theme here. I'll leave you with this epic fail. I was drilling some pilot holes in the bottom of the lower gantry arm for some M8 bolts to eventually screw into. Everything was going great when all of a sudden the end mill had a mind of its own. Watch what happens next when the end mill goes on a trip. Enjoy!